Nutritionist who's going to talk about gut and skin and hormone connection.
Yes, thank you so much, Trish. Thank you, everybody. And yes, thank you so much, Trish and the girls, everyone from the clinic for having me as a guest tonight. I was really excited to be part of this and talking about one of my favourite topics as a functional medicine practitioner as well. So my name is Sharon Casagalia. I'm founder of Embrace Nutrition and Holistic Health. And it's going to come up. And I'm talking tonight a little bit about gut, because you can be here for 2 weeks to talk about gut. From gut to glow, the hidden link between your microbiome, hormones and skin. I think I've got to go up. Yes, is that right?
Down.
Down? Thanks, Monica. Oh. There we go. Oh, let's keep moving. There was one like that. Here we go. All right. GI tract. We can't talk about the gut unless we understand what the gut is. Everyone thinks that the gut is mainly just your stomach. The gut is your whole gastrointestinal tract. So it starts in the mouth and ends in the anus. So that's how long it is. It's an enteric system, and it is quite full on. What are we looking at? The gut is an ecosystem. So the gut houses a microbiome, and the body is made up of different colonies of bacteria, and particularly the gut houses most of these microbes and most of the bacteria. 90% of the cells in our body are located in this area, so it's quite significant. And we only know about the microbiome mainly in the last 10 years, where researchers really stepped it up. Before then, we had some idea, but we really didn't know the amazing effects of it. A healthy microbiome is really where microbiome has an abundant amount of cells in the right parts of the body at the right time and in the right organisms along the gastrointestinal tract as well. So they're in various locations. You will find them from some in the small intestine, but a lot more in the colon and in large intestine, where they're more abundant and they're growing multiply as like houses of gut bacteria. Why does the microbiome matter so much? Well, basically, it is the composition of your immune system, your hormones, your inflammatory levels, and your brain chemistry. So I don't know if anyone's heard of the term brain inflammation. So it's where gut actually influences the brain. So a lot of the medical conditions that we have in terms of anxiety, depression, even links to premenstrual tension, endometriosis, autoimmune conditions, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, which is a very inflammatory disease as well, and inflammation. So when we think about inflammation generally, if someone says I'm inflamed, or doctor said I was inflamed, or I feel inflamed, that comes from the gut initially. So this is where it starts. What is fascinating is that the body does speak, and body speak is everything I look at in functional medicine. So it's the axis that acts between your organs and your gut. So we have a gut-skin axis, so your skin and gut talk to each other, the gut-brain axis, the gut-hormone axis, and the gut-immune axis. And it's really fascinating when you dive deep into this. The gut-brain axis is a two-way communication, and it's actually a superhighway. So the gut speaks to the brain via a nerve called the vagus nerve. It's a superhighway. It's full of neurons, and these neurons in particular produce a specific 30 plus neurotransmitters. They're speaking all the time, even when you're asleep, anytime, when you're driving the car, when you're telling the kids off, it's speaking, okay? So what this does is produces beautiful chemicals that we use to rely on this enteric system. Understand that 90 to 95% of our serotonin, which is our feel-good hormone, is in the gut to begin with. And that's why we're on, if somebody suffering depression is on SSRIs or something like that, that's where that comes from. So we know that many emotions are influenced by gut activity and not just the brain. So this is called your second brain. So basically that's what the gut is. And this 90 to 95% of signals travel from the gut to the brain, not the other way around. And the remarkable part of this is that it affects the mood, your stress response, your sleep, your emotional regulation. So really tied in between each other, okay? So we think sometimes that thought is, oh, it starts in my brain. It's not. It's coming from your gut first and foremost. What we do know in research is that certain bifidobacterium strains have been really helpful in shifting negative thought, in placing someone with a better mindset. We know that it supports cognition, emotional health, it can support sleep, reduce cortisol and stress. I mean, we all know what cortisol and stress levels are these days, and reduce the anxiety and depressive symptoms. So research is really looking into different strains of bacteria, and in particular the bifidobacterium strain. Stress and hormones, gut, they're all linked together. So we know when a gut becomes impermeable, or we suffer intestinal hyperpermeability or leaky gut, as what the phrase you may have heard of leaky gut before. Yeah. So what this tends to do, it activates the stress response, and the stress response is called the HPA axis, or the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. So it's your brain, your adrenal glands, which produce cortisol, the stress hormone. It works in that manner. So what does this do? This basically drives inflammation and hormonal imbalance to occur, and this can contribute to your fatigue, your anxiety, your hormonal disruption in general, and increased pain sensitivity. We know if there is leaky gut present, that someone's perception of pain is much higher. Not to say they're imagining it, but they actually have higher pain receptors as a result. So what does the microbiome influence? So it has a role in nutrient absorption, assimilation, detoxification. It also helps us with our cognitive function, our cravings and appetite. What you eat, what you choose to eat, what you choose to drink is all driven by your gut. Your choices, your thoughts, your every move that you make is heavily influenced by the gut and the colonies of bacteria that are formed in the lining of the gut. Any imbalance that's associated with the microbiome can lead to obesity, what your weight is, skin conditions. This is a big one. Clients come to see me with certain skin conditions and will say, what do I do? You know, it's my hormones, it's this and that. We need to look underneath the hood to see what's going on. We understand that gut drives the skin condition. It creates that inflammatory process as well, hormonal issues and brain fog. So someone saying that my microbiome made me do it is not far from the truth. A woman in the US, she actually went to court for, she was going to be sentenced for murdering her husband. She wore this t-shirt to get herself out of it, to say that her actual microbiome made her kill her husband, and it wasn't her. So there is t-shirts, check it out on Amazon, you'll see them, yeah. So where does gut health begin? Gut health begins if we were fortunate to be vaginally born and, you know, a vaginal delivery. So once the baby passes through the canal, baby swallows all of the mother's vaginal microbiome and microbes, all the good bacteria. That's the first inoculation. The second inoculation is breastfeeding. So when the baby's exposed to the mother's breast milk, if that can take place. The next one is if you were fortunate enough to sort of be raised with animals, farm animals, or have a dog around all the time, or be exposed to really healthy soil, that is the best way to have a strong microbiome. I always think of, you know, my husband, he did a lot of, you know, playing around with animals when he was younger and gardening, and got to do that with his grandparents a lot. So, you know, it is one of those things that really does support the gut integrity. What disrupts the microbiome? So probably things you would already be aware of. So antibiotics is a huge one. Antibiotics can wipe out colonies of bacteria from your gut for good. It can wipe out certain species. Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, so anything that's going to reduce inflammation over time can do that. The standard American or Australian diet, which is a highly processed diet, unfortunately, we have the highest rates of obesity and diabetes and inflammation due to our processed diet. And that will be a huge contributor to microbiome disruption. Alcohol excess. Even when I say that to clients, they're like, oh, don't take that from me. Artificial sweeteners and additives. We have a lot of food products that are full of those, and a lot of those products are children's products, unfortunately. So they're starting out with early, development of being exposed to those additives and chemicals. Chronic stress. You can do all the things, and you can be healthy and go to the gym or do what you need to do, eat well. If you're stressed, it's going to kill off bacteria, okay? It's as simple as that. Stress is a killer, unfortunately, but chronic stress over time. I don't mean acute stress, like you're getting married and you've got that acute stress going on. This is prolonged stress that can really affect the gut bacteria. Poor sleep and circadian rhythm disruption. So we know night shift workers, they will be prone to a poorer gut motility, also poor gut bacteria. So they're more so subject to that disruption. They may have alternating bowels like constipation or diarrhea. And we know that environmental toxins play a huge part as well. We can't cotton wool ourselves away from glyphosates, but they're everywhere. And, any fertilizers, herbicides, all the pesticides, everything that's happening in the agricultural movement at the moment that's contributing to our gut, poor gut. What happens when the gut is out of balance? Just a very quick diagram, not to confuse you. So what we have is we have the mucosal layer on the top. So a healthy gut barrier will look like this, where there are no spaces. These are called the tight junctions. And as I explain to clients when they come in, when I say that you have possible leaky gut going on, with your symptoms, and we've done the testing, we'll do a mannitol test. I'll explain that it's a little bit like a fence paling. So if we have separation in between, things are coming in and out. So a lot of immune cells are coming in and out, pathogens are coming in and out, a lot of bad bacteria are coming in and out, and that can disrupt the gut microbiome. We have good bacteria called the bacteroids, and we have a bad bacteria such as the Firmicutes. Not so firm, not so cute. They're really bad. They eat the good bacteria and create chaos. When they're living in this environment so often, they create this junction to separate, as you can see. So it can upset the lining, it can upset the bloodstream. This is going right through your body. So if you've got leaky gut, it's going right through your body. Brain fog, headache, not sleeping, anxious, you name it. The biggest driver of the microbiome diversity would be from food. We can take supplements, we can take herbs, we can do all the things, but food is going to give us that diversity and variety. If we're not getting a wide variety of foods, then we're actually missing out on the good microbes that we need. We know that someone that's not having the standard Australian diet and is on a beautiful whole food diet will have about 40% more good bacteria. And we know that they're 40% less upset by stress and anxiety. So their resilience is better when they're eating better. And you know the drill yourself. When you're eating better, you feel better. But even 2 weeks on a holiday, so 2 weeks away, eating poorly every day can significantly wipe out your gut bacteria. So you might be at Bali or, somewhere, and you've had a few drinks every day and a few bad foods here and there. That can wipe it out. A 2-week holiday. So that's why some people feel between the jet lag and coming back from a holiday, they might have the golden glow of the tan, but they've got the poor gut. This is my trigger. If anyone wants to trigger me, it's this. I hate seeing them spray in the street, and I do get really triggered. The actual glyphosate, so spraying in the street, our food, so agricultural movement actually does, just contribute to this. So what it can do is it can affect the microbial diversity. It can actually impair the way we detoxify. So normally when we are subject to chemicals, we remove this through a process of our liver. So there's 3 stages of that. With a lot of the build up over time and a poor gut and a poor liver, because you can't talk about gut if livers has to be involved as well, the poor liver, it increases an inflammatory reaction. And this is what the impact is on the body over time with multiple exposures from the environment. We know that the Hadza people in Africa, East Africa, have a beautiful gut microbiome. So a lot of studies being done between them and ours. So we've looked at their diversity. When this is actually tested, we can see that the Hadza people have a flourishing rainforest when we look at their gut. As opposed to Westerners, it looks like a barren desert. So ours is very different. There's been a scientist that just went there recently, in the last year, and he spent a couple of days there. They tested his gut microbiome, and in 3 days, he significantly improved the quality of his gut, just eating their foods. But mind you, they've probably got like 40 to 80 different berries and more fruits and vegetables and other wild foods that we don't get access to. So that makes a difference as well. And there's no pesticides. So what about skin? How does this show up on the skin? So skin is the messenger. So, if you're breaking out or you're noticing some changes in your skin, we know that the body is struggling to clear, and often it's having problems clearing any toxins. So we look at the gut and the role of that and the role of the liver in doing that detoxification. I get clients all the time that come in and say that they're having some skin problems, this is where it started, and don't really make the association with gut always. So hormones, gut and skin connection. Your hormones don't work in isolation, so they are the chemical messages as well. So don't shoot the messenger with hormones. Hormones always get the bad rap. Oh, it's my hormones. Oh, my hormones are playing up. Hormones are just going to they're going to behave what you throw at them. That's how they respond to, really. And the same with skin. So we don't just treat skin, we've got to look holistically at everything underneath. And this is where I look at the whole system, because we have to see what's going on and see what the drivers are. Obviously, to have healthy skin, we have to look at those axes I was talking about before. Where do we start? We look at our mental health. We look at our liver detoxification and see how that's working. We check our hormones. We look at our gut composition. Are we sleeping? We know with circadian rhythm disruption, that can affect the skin as well. But the big one is blood sugar imbalancing. And I've seen a couple of reels that you guys do, and you talk a lot about sugar and processed foods and what you're throwing into your system, and that will have a negative impact. You can do all the things, but that will still have a negative impact and break down collagen and all the rest of it. We want collagen. Collagen is beautiful. So when clients come to see me, they say, is it possible to heal my gut? And I say, it absolutely is. The gut is miraculous. Gut healing can regenerate quite rapidly. And the microbiome, it's so adaptive, like it will adapt and it's dynamic. And with the right protocol and the right things that we throw at it, it will heal. It will do that. The liver is the same. The liver is resilient. The poor liver really gets treated poorly often, but it will come back. If you show liver love, it comes back, and the gut is the same. What women and men share with me in clinic. So this is what I hear before the session, before our exploratory session, or just, during the session, that they're constantly bloated, that they're always burping or uncomfortable, that they get reflux and burning after meals. Their bowels aren't regular. I had a lady who hadn't had a bowel movement for 7 days. She thought it was good because she had a bowel movement on the weekend, and she thought that was okay. So it was fecal impaction. That was beyond control. So, we have to look at that. There's clients that swing between constipation and diarrhea, and there's people that get cramping and pain. Whether that's, they'll have a couple of these things, but this is basically what I'm seeing constantly. So looking beyond the symptoms to understand the root cause, in the clinic, this is what I look at. I always talk about, my videos, or when I'm posting, always say, I probably think of the video for this, I look under the hood to see what's going on. I always use the car analogy, looking under the hood to see exactly what's happening in your system. So how that's a reflection of you, now that's a reflection of your skin, how that's a reflection of your behaviour, how you're feeling, and how you're responding to your immune health. So you can truly heal the surface, but you can't truly heal the surface without looking at what's underneath, and that matters. So in my work, I support men and women with irritable bowel syndrome, IBD, colitis, Crohn's disease, diverticulitis, chronic constipation, fecal impaction, incontinence, and alongside those symptoms that I spoke about, so the bloating and discomfort, the irregular bowel movements, and food sensitivities, fatigue, and inflammation. And that's all about gut integrity. So looking at supporting that whole body balance. So the Embrace way, so I have an Embrace Gut protocol, and it's a personalised bespoke program. So I look at you, I speak to you first, I get questionnaires, so I do all my research on you before we even meet some people, before I've even seen what you look like. I'm researching on you, I'm reading up, understanding what's going on. The person comes into me and then I listen to your story, because a lot of women and men are going through these silos of care where they're not actually being treated to be heard, and they're seeing specialists and only seeing them for a few minutes and feel like their story hasn't been told. I listen to the story. So I take it on that. We look at the history, we look at what's going on, we look at your symptoms, how you're feeling, how you're responding, what you want. And then we look at I look at the biochemistry, so I assess bloods, may send you for functional testing. If we need, 80% is in your, basically is what your symptoms are. That's where we look at that. And then we look at your plan. So we have a whole plan that we work on, and then this bespoke program and protocol gives you your lifestyle, nutrition, herbs, supplements, nutraceuticals if we need, lifestyle intervention as well. Just so that your body can start restoring integrity, balance, and resilience to the immune system. With the gut, it takes approximately 8 weeks to fully repair your gut, but that is if you're doing things in a specific manner, listening to me as well, sending me things when I ask for them, not forgetting your food diary, not forgetting the blood, not forgetting a lot of things, but when my gold star clients, they'll be the ones that will end up getting some really good results from that as well. And so life gets in the way, we know, but it is possible. So that is me, and these are my contact details. I would love you to follow me on Instagram, please. That would be good if you could. And I have a YouTube, which is lots of reels as well. I'm slow. I'm just starting a podcasting. That'll be late. That will be soon. That's not far. I have a website. You can book through the website as well. You can contact me on any of these. I'm contactable all the time, 24/7 really. And if any of this resonates with you today, any gut issues or anything that stood out or anything you wanted to sort of explore, there's no stupid question. I talk about poo a lot. That's my job. Anyone that's come to see me will know I'll give you this Bristol stool chart and we'll talk about what your poo looks like, because that's so important. So nothing's embarrassing. Nothing is a silly question. I'd love you to approach me. So I'd love to work with you. Any questions from anybody? Any of this resonate? Anyone gain enough to?
Oh yes,
Oh, thank you, Moki. Any question? Any questions? Yes.
So what do you feel about the drinks like kombucha
kombucha? Like, is that actually beneficial or?
Yeah, it can be. The problem is that people don't understand is sometimes kombucha and other lacto-fermented foods can actually create a histamine reaction. So then they will say, oh my goodness, my face is rushing up and this is happening and I feel foggy and other things. And then they don't know, they don't sort of put that two and two together. They are good, but then I know that there's a lot of kombucha products out there now that are very heavily marketed and commercialized, and they'll have a few additives in that. So people will say, oh, I'm drinking this, and I'll say, well, send me the ingredients so I know exactly what's in it. Because even things like stevia and other artificial sweeteners can disrupt the gut microbiome. So I always say to people, just be mindful of that. And there's a whole lot of people walking around, even those fizzy drink things, like people are part of they have a lot of these fizzy things. They bring them to me and I'll say, oh, look, I had this for energy, blah, blah, blah. And I'll check the ingredients. I'm like, that's not helping your diarrhea. And I'm like, oh, what's going on? What's wrong with it? And I'll say, well, there's a lot of artificial sweeteners and chemicals and things in there. And it's just going to disrupt that lining. And the lining doesn't like to be disrupted. It likes to flourish. And if anything's coming in, especially things like that, and sugars and additives, that's where you're going to get side effects. Yeah. So if you're histamine prone, sometimes those aren't always the best thing, those kombuchas. Even though I like the remedy ones. I like the lemon and ginger. But yeah. Any other questions?
You mentioned about collagen, which is really good for us. So what do you think about the collagen shakes that's available? Because there are plenty of them and they just keep coming on Instagram feed.
Yes.
They're so,
Yes.
an urge to just click and buy them. So what do you think about those?
The collagen, yeah. If you have a poor gut, you're not going to be able to utilize the collagen as well. So there's not enough research to suggest that drinking collagen like that is actually going to be beneficial for the gut. Okay, I think Kakadu plum and things like that, drinking that's probably better, because you're getting vitamin C and that's probably better for the lining. It's going to help with stress, and which is all part of that gut integrity as well. Depending on your state of your gut. So clients will come and see me and say, oh, I started drinking a collagen drink and look at my skin, it's so much better. And I'll say, well, what else have you been doing? And they'll say, oh, well, I've cut out sugar and I'm seeing someone to get my skin done and, I'm getting, yeah. Yeah, that's right. So we have to look at all the other external variables as well,
Because as soon as I drink it, I just go to the toilet.
Oh, yes.
So I stopped drinking it.
Yeah.
Just FYI.
Yeah. So if it's got some artificial sweeteners in it as well, that can create, the reason to evacuate quite quickly, or short transit time, or speeds up the transit time. Yeah. So just being mindful. And I think we have to really look at all of these. We're mass marketed. Yes. I'm in a perimenopausal time frame, and all my algorithms that are coming up is about beauty and aging, and I've got every pill and every supplement and everything thrown at me. And because I can sort of go through it and say, yep, nah, that's rubbish, nah. But I know anyone that's going through the same phase as me, they're going to be so confused about what to take, what to do. And this is what I like to do. I like to sort of take the guesswork out of that and say, right, you need to get these, your treatments are important, your health of your gut's important. So, supplements, I'm about very good supplements, high dosage, very good quality supplements as well. Not every supplement out there is basically going to cover everything. There's not a one size fits all. And because there's so many in the works, they're all competing with each other. You're going to have a lot of collagen drinks and a lot of collagen supplements out there right now. They could have very minimal of what you need in them, a lot of fillers. They'll have a lot of other plastics and things in them. So we have to really look at what we're taking in as well, and reduce the noise. There's too much noise for all of us. We're really overly marketed and pod washed, Meno washed, pink washed, you name it. We're washed out. Yeah, it's huge. And social media is the worst for that. You can scroll all night, that doom scrolling. Did anybody feel that at the moment? Like there's just a lot of stuff to siphon out, really.
I just don't get on anymore.
Yeah.
Because the things that I actually want to see are so far down that
Yes.
it's no point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And it kind of nominates, you know, the algorithm just thinks well, she started seeing this or we've heard her speak, because I think the phone hears me speak as well sometimes. So I think, didn't I just talk about those genes I wanted? Or I'm like, really, that's weird. Yeah, and it will just throw more at you and more. And then that's you know, a lot of I'm not sleeping, my clients, I think, were you scrolling? They're like, yes. Like, oh, stop it, because it's just, it's that dopamine hit, isn't it? Yeah. If there are no other questions? No?
Going back to the menopause thing.
Yes, menopause,
You
yes.
said to fight the bacteria was the fermented foods.
Yes,
For someone who suffers migraines, like, I can't have anything fermented.
yes,
Have you dealt with a lot of
yes,
people that
absolutely.
how to get around that? Because
Yes, I have a protocol for that, yeah. And you can't, because of, if you're not clearing properly and your detoxification is off, histamine's going to build up, and in menopause it builds more because as ovulation changes, obviously, or ceases, the ovaries are going to produce more histamine when they should have been producing estrogen before. They're producing histamine, so that's going to increase that load. And in menopause, that's where you'll get like in the headaches and migraines and all of that. But it's all about your detoxification. And I don't mean aggressive forms of detoxification. I'm talking about a very individualized detoxification, because, you know, you've got to take into consideration with detoxification if they've had breast cancer in the past, or what their history is. You know, have they had an autoimmune flare? I'm not going to mention companies, but there's certain like menopausal supplements that are out there, and you know them, that are marketed. And look, you know, I get those clients coming back because they've had an autoimmune flare. They've ended up with, you know, lupus, because the supplements that were given out, well, that they've seen online and they've bought, have caused their immune system to go AWOL. So, you know what I mean? And there's no rigorous, there's no one moderating that, you know. But they'll have them at the Mind Body the Mind Body Spirit Festival. You know what I mean? Like, because it's so mass marketed and it's a big money. But yes, I do that. Yeah.
it took me a while to understand it's actually
Yeah. Yeah, that's right, exactly. Gut mediated, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. 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 That's good. No? All right. Well, thank you so much for having me. And thanks again to Trish and the girls for having me as a guest tonight. I really enjoyed myself.